Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension, is a ghost horror movie sequel. We find ourselves following this new family that just moved into this home. Everything is going good until just one day the daughter starts doing weird stuff, the little girl. Well, the dad ends up finding this camera, and it is this special camera. It's been tweaked to a point that allows it to see something, which they're not sure what it allows them to see, but it is clearly spiritual activity. We find out later. And yeah, one day the mom and dad go out, and the uncle and a family friend are testing out this camera, and just this little girl is just there with all this rosary and just weird stuff with this little girl. She's trying to burn Bibles, and she's just not acting right. And as the dad is using this camera that he found in the house, because it's a new house that they just moved into, he just sees all this weird black floaty shit in the air, and he's like, is it something wrong with this camera because it's tweaked, or what is this? And yeah, it just keeps getting thicker, and there's just more of it. And then he's like, well, screw it, let me look at the tapes that came with it. And these tapes are all the tapes from all the other Paranormal Activity movies, but mostly it's the tapes from the two little girls, the sisters from the first two movies. And as he's just watching them, he's like, holy shit, what is happening? Because it's also introducing more of the cult aspect, because it's like what happened after 3. So the end of 3 is when they're little, and this is like what happened after the mom and dad died. And you find out kind of more of the past of the two little girls, yada yada yada. And he's like freaked out because now his daughter is talking about Toby, and clearly the little girls in the video are talking about Toby. And yeah, he's using this camera, and he's just finally seeing all this shit. And yeah, Toby's acting up. It's same found footage, jump scares, but this one was definitely way more extreme. And that is kind of about the movie. It's the same concept. Do they save the little girl? Does something happen to the parents in the end? If you've seen all the other ones, you kind of can expect what's about to happen. So my review to Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension. And yeah, this one, they're not even trying to hide. It is just way more extreme than all the others. I mean, you can just full on see Toby through this camera. It's the same sense that it's like Paranormal Activity, but I feel like it's more like, yeah, people know this shit's fake. Now we're just kind of gonna make an actual horror movie with an actual entity, and it ain't gonna be just lights flickering and bullshit like we have full on. Like you're seeing Toby. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. It added more lore, and I always like the lore of these movies. That's easily my favorite part about them, because the first couple had good jump scares, and then like you kind of start expecting when the jump scares are gonna come. So it's like, This one did have a couple scares though, because it was just way more extreme, and I feel like it was coming out rapid fire because it wasn't like that soft subtleness no more. But yeah, I mean, it's more lore to the little girls, and it's like more crazy shit. This one, they actually revived Toby. Obviously spoilers, always spoilers in my reviews, and that's pretty crazy. Also, I thought it was insane that they kind of got set up to buy the house. Forgot to kind of mention that in my review, but upon realizing, oh, the realtor wasn't a real person, basically they were set up, because it seems like this witch cult is specifically targeting certain kids, and it turns out the daughter was born on 666, sixth day of the 6th month of the 6th year, 2006. Yeah, and it's just crazy, insane shenanigans. I actually thought the acting in this movie was a little bit weaker, though. That was one thing I definitely did notice. But at the same time, I think it's because the movie was so extreme. I just thought like some of their reactions in the beginning was kind of like weird and stuff like that. I don't know, hard to explain. But nonetheless, still really good movies, man. Really enjoy these. And there's a ghost dimension, which was kind of unnecessary, but nonetheless, it was in there. Also, Toby, we kind of figure out what he is in this movie. He is a prince of Satan, one of the 7 princes or something like that. And yeah, so he's definitely bad news. When the preacher tries to get rid of Toby, huge fucking mistake, because Toby is literally transcending time. Like, you can't beat somebody who can transcend time. Like, it's impossible. You are just a regular person. Because, like, the little girl who was basically getting whispered in her ear by Toby, and she was seeing things that was happening in the future, that means Toby is in the present, able to tell himself in the past things he's seen, which is transcending time. Woo! I could talk about these movies like crazy, honestly. Like, there's so much lore to these movies that I didn't expect. Like, man, I should just do like a wrap up about just what Toby and like the actual lore of these movies. Maybe after I see the 7th one, so. But I don't own it, so who knows when that'll be. And so my recommendation for Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension, and easily gonna recommend this too, because it just adds to the story, and honestly I really enjoy the story, so yep, recommended.